What's that, Hezzy? I think it's about bedtime.
I was still Ragnarok on my phone where I have unlimited access to TV.
We're calling this the BOF edition. As soon as we get some people here. We have a person. Hello, person. Let me get the chat up. Okay, we don't have any. For our one person, we have two now. We have two. We have four people. Woohoo! Sky rockets in flight. This is our BOF edition because Luke B, you shaved your beard off today. Your daughter doesn't like it. How does your husband feel about it? Ooh, sorry. I was offsides. I apologize. Still,
we don't want to assume, you know.
No, he shaved his beard. Something's a little off there. Good evening, tacos and French fries. So this is our BOF edition. Tactical Homestead. How you doing, sir?
That man puts out a lot of videos.
He generates a lot of content. He does good. Robert Owens, good evening. Tactical Homestead, I'm interested in your response to the BOF video. Oh, Luke had a good sense of humor about it. Thank you, Luke.
You think it's one blockers?
You want to say hi real quick? Okay.
Hi.
She say hi?
Hi.
Okay. That's it. And I am...
She almost took it down.
I'm very excited about the BOF rifle. As you know, I think someone else is going to come say hi. You going to come say hi too?
No, sir.
Okay. I've been meaning to work on that video for a very, very long time, and kind of everything came together on it all at once. And I was very pleased with how, not the video necessarily, when all the video's doing very well. Landon Wold, good evening, sir. Any thought on strategic relocation to northern Arizona? Josh Galt. Northern Arizona, your thoughts? Here's my thoughts. Now, I'm gonna show you my ignorance about the geography of northern Arizona. I think northern Arizona is an elevated elevation. Is a higher elevation. I don't know what the water situation there is. I think everything in the Southwest is at least suspect as the grid starts going down, as they start, making everyone use renewable electricity. You guys are so dependent on irrigation and water piped in down there that, a loss of electricity would be just devastating for the water situation out there. So that's my question about northern Arizona. What's the water situation? Other than that, anywhere where you can be in the mountains is a great thing. Luke B, I think that barrel on that BOF, I think it's Bear Creek Arsenal. What was difficult about the barrel, we'll talk about our beer here in a minute, is I didn't want a 223 wild chamber. I wanted a 5.56 chamber.
Tilt that just a little bit so I can see the comments.
Oh, yeah. There you go. And usually as you get heavier, longer barrels, right now they tend to be the 223 wild chamber, which it's a fine chamber, there's nothing wrong with it, but because I was wanting a volume of fire, it's a little bit of a narrower lead, so there's just a little less room for gunk, so it's got to be cleaned a little quicker. So that's why I wanted the 5.56 barrel, and that's why it took me so long to find the longer 5.56 heavy barrel. I really wanted a 26 incher, but I just quit looking. But, maybe I just wasn't looking right. Hey, AD in here. Hey, we got a chance to meet AD in here. He was actually at the offsite undisclosed location where we were filming the BOF rifle video, and we really, really enjoyed meeting AD in here. He was a lot of fun. The beer this evening is Samuel Adams Oktoberfest. Malt brings so much to a great beer. That's why we developed a unique malt blend to provide a robust color and smooth, rich flavor like you. They don't know me very well. We have a first timer with us this evening. Y'all say hello to Keith. I don't know if he's gotten into the comments yet. Okay, Bob 67 asked, what is the BOF? So just hold on 1 second and we'll tell you about the BOF. He's a Brummie from Birmingham, England. I think that's what they call them. I think they call them Brummies from Birmingham. Where was I? Oh, so this is what we're drinking tonight. I don't normally like Samuel Adams, so we're gonna see what do we think here.
Tastes fine to me.
Yeah, it's pretty good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's solid.
You're only gonna drink like that much
Yeah.
of it anyway, so.
Okay, Bob 67 asked what the BOF is. The BOF stands for Base of Fire. Our British forebears gifted us a tradition in this country of universal arms. Yeah, universal arms. And the militia. The militia was a tradition that we brought with us from Great Britain, primarily England. It's more of an Anglo-Saxon thing, but certainly the Scots and the Irish. Hey, stop. The Scots and the Irish weren't quite as organized about it, but they still had that same tradition. So in order for us to operate in that tradition where, you know, the American man is armed and the American man is responsible for the safety and security of his own family and freedoms, we have to be able to be armed in a way that allows us to be competitive in a, if you want to try to sharpen one, sharpen the cheap one. Don't try to sharpen my good one. Let's say a hostile environment, and so that means we need a base of fire for fire team maneuvers. So our base of fire rifle has a special kind of trigger in it that allows it to shoot around when you pull the trigger like normal and when you release the trigger. So where you would normally pull the trigger and get a shot and release the trigger and then have to pull the trigger again and get another shot, with the with the binary trigger, you get 2 shots with a pull and a release. So you get a higher volume of fire. We also wanted a heavy barrel, a longer heavy barrel, because what happens is, you know, all that shooting heats it up. You know, it heats your barrel up, it heats your bolt up, and things start expanding, and then you can start getting malfunctions. So a heavier barrel with more weight and more metal to it takes longer to get heated up to that level. Now it also takes longer to cool back down once it gets heated up, so it's a bit of a give and take there.
Could you change out barrels?
So it's not. There are systems that you can put on an AR to do that. It's not.
It's pretty intensive, I guess.
Not inherent to the system, yeah. But there are quick change systems. So now what we've got is we've got a heavy long-barreled AR-15, which is also a very accurate rifle. So now it can also function as what we call a DMR, or designated marksman rifle. We just posted a video about it on my channel. If you go look, it says the BOF rifle, and it's a much more in-depth look and kind of a test of the concept.
Could you just exchange the entire upper then with the new barrel?
Yes, that's actually a pretty good idea.
Instead of having, get...
The only problem is, it's not necessarily a problem, but the thing to remember is that your handguard and your optic are all attached to that upper, and your sighting system. So you'd have to have a complete upper with optic, handguard, whatever your sighting system is. Also, your bipod is attached to that handguard that's attached to that upper.
So you might as well just have a whole other gun.
It's getting close.
Okay.
And also your sling is attached from that handguard back to your buttstock. So that's again a little complicated. We should do We should do some research and find a quick change barrel system for the IR, because I know they make them. I've seen them. I'm just not thinking of them right now.
Would a suppressor make all that take longer for the barrel to heat up and all that, or don't matter?
No. What the suppressor does is it takes sound and just actually.
So it's not going to affect the barrel cooling and heating up.
I think it would, because the suppressor takes the sound waves and converts them into heat. So the suppressor itself gets really, really, really hot.
So would that make the barrel heat up faster, or?
I think, yeah, that heat would then transfer back to the barrel. So that's the BOF. Damn, I forgot who asked that. Bob 67. And if you go watch, yes, see, I was right about the Brummies. Keith is here. Hey, Keith. All right, I think we're caught up. Outback Jackoff says, cheers from my gulag in Australia. Cheers, Jack. Matthew Minu, shalom from Matt in Boynton Beach, Florida. Nice and warm down here. P.S. Went to gun show today. Pick up a Romanian AK-47. PPK for suppressed fire. You had me thinking about 3-team tactics. That's what you need to be thinking about. 80 in here. Walter Davis says hi. Okay, Jonathan is talking about the suppressor thing, and he's saying you'll get too much heat and gas. Because also what the suppressor does is it backs up the gas, and so there's more gas going into the operating system, and so it gets called being overgassed, although most AR-15s are overgassed to begin with. And Tactical Homestead's going to do another VR? Okay.
So how many rounds would it take to heat up? If you're just, I mean, if you're not laying on the trigger, but if you're steady,
So
how long would it take? To...
I did a 60-round mag dump, and it was hot enough that it was uncomfortable to hold the handguard, even with that heavy barrel. Now, I've got that bipod folded underneath there, so it was fine to hold the bipod, which you can. Mm-hmm. And it's not really designed to be fired, offhand anyway. It's designed to be fired from a position off the bipod.
So, but what point is it getting to where it's
Affecting the function of the gun.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'd have to test it. It's gonna vary by barrel, and I'm not smart enough to. We'd have to push this system to that point and see.
I would assume a lot, though.
Yeah, hundreds of rounds.
Yeah.
A bare minimum combat load, but I don't think a combat load would do it.
Okay.
Because a combat load doesn't. I've done like a 5 or 6 mag dump through an M16A2 on 3-round burst, just trying to get rid of ammunition, and it didn't.
But there's definitely a time frame within you got to get your objective.
Yeah, there's a point when it overheats.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. I saw a guy it was actually my rifle, and he was shooting blanks, and he had to burn off a bunch of blanks. So it was an instructor at our infantry school. He put it on 3-round burst and blew through a bunch of magazines of blanks until the barrel turned white. It was like white, and it never malfunctioned. So even at that point, it was still firing.
Yeah.
But I kept my weapon just meticulously clean. I was a Nazi about it. Tactical Homestead says 10 mags fast and you get some weirdness. Keith asks a good question that I don't know. Is the barrel right-hand twist or left-hand twist? I think it's right-hand twist, but I'm not at all positive on that. Jonathan says his suppressors get too hot after 200 rounds. Outback says it's so wild to think about you can just own an AK-47. Yeah, you can, but why would you? I'm kidding.
Choose your countries better.
I'm kidding. Now, I do have a little bit of a beef with the AK-47. How are you doing, Jeff?
Well, Doing good. Got a little bit of a kidney stone going on, but hanging in there.
Or is it close to passing yet?
It's like Friday it was bad, but today it hasn't been as bad. So I don't know if it's moving around or what it's doing.
Arcadia says hello. Outback Jackoff is jealous. Hey, Outback Jackoff, is there any kind of, like, we would call it pro-Second Amendment organization here. Like, is there any group that's, like, advocating for a return of your rights to bear arms?
It's probably too late. I mean, once you give them up, I don't think they don't like giving them back.
Yeah, but, I mean, does someone at least try, you know? Is there someone who advocate? Like our NRA. Our NRA is mildly useless.
I mean, they are putting them in camps for not getting vaccine
That
shots.
is true.
You start bringing up, I want a firearm, you might be under the...
Yeah, it might be under the camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, that,
There's a lesson to be learned there somewhere.
they were even putting the Aborigines into camps. I mean, it's like completely.
Yeah. All the white guys who run Australia are putting the Aborigines into
It's
camps.
like, really? We're doing this again?
Where's BLM now? You guys should be on boats over there.
This did not work last time. Yes, Outback, move to us. We need more good ones. We need those 3 Aborigine boys who are like, screw you, we're out.
I know it, right?
We're like, boom! That's the kind of spirit we need. So, this is the BOF edition, so I guess I should talk about the BOF.
We just did for 30 minutes.
We've only been on for 16.
It felt like 30.
All right, then you talk.
Sure. Let's see. Did you hear what our diversity hire of a VP said on the Charlemagne show? All right.
The person you hired.
We'll get there.
She was.
Okay, Charlemagne's the guy who got Joe Biden to say, you know, if you don't know if you're voting for me or Trump, you're not black. So the guy.
So we already love this guy.
Yeah. So he knows how to set a snare. And he asked Kamala. He says, "Go ahead and tell us. Be truthful. Who's the real president? Joe Manchin or Joe Biden?" And Kamala's handler jumps in. She's saying, "No. She can't hear you." And Charlemagne's like, "They're saying this bitch can't hear me." And Kamala's like, "No, I can hear you." And the handler goes all Admiral Akbar. "It's a trap. Do not answer this question." And she gets all mad. She goes, "Joe Biden is the president, and I am the vice president, and my name is Kamala Harris."
Like, who are you? Bob 67 believes in the right to arm bears. Those grizzlies should be allowed to shoot back. Yeah, I saw that on a t-shirt in Walmart was the first time I saw that. I thought it was pretty funny. See, so here's my problem, Outback. No one's even talking about it. Like, no one's trying to organize to petition. I struggle with that a little bit. I mean, even if it's just 3 guys in their basement sending emails, somebody should be working on it. I mean, hell, 3 guys in their basement sending emails could actually change some things. What are the gun laws out there, Outback? Can y'all own anything at all? All right, the Michigan that military intelligence prepper. I got that wrong for years. I thought he was Michigan prepper, but it's military intelligence prepper. That AR mod was very cool. I thought about that idea, but had not seen it done. Great job. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. We're not done with it. We're going to do more with that. I really want to find somewhere to strap. I'd like to do 500 yards. I'd like to see what I can do with it at 500 yards. What really impressed me was that I was just shooting random bits of ammunition that I'd loaded into magazines, and I was still ringing those. I think they were 12-inch round. The round targets, I think, were 12 inches.
I mean, that's still pretty small, 175 yards.
Yeah, and the 0 was not drifting with the different ammunition.
Shotguns and bolt.
You could do a lot with a bolt action.
That's not terrible. I mean,
It's not terrible.
Just for safety.
That's not a total ban.
A pond.
I bet you have to go through a mountain of paperwork though,
Well,
So.
or they tax it out. Make the taxes so high you can't afford it.
I don't know how. Yeah, the dual purpose. It took a very long time for that to come to me. I'm a little ashamed because, you know, I was probably a year more into the process where I went, bing, ah. You know what I probably was doing is I was probably thinking, I should set up a DMR, and I probably started putting together a mental parts list for a DMR and went,
What is a DMR?
designated marksman rifle. So it's not a sniper rifle, but it's so like in a squad, they used to. Well, so basically, an infantry unit would have one rifle that had a little more range, and they would give it to their best shooter, and then he would do like baby sniper type stuff at the squad level. But they call it designated marksman.
Thank you. I'm glad you subscribed. Bob67.
It must be one of yours.
Yeah, he didn't subscribe to you. I mean,
You can have the Taurus judge in Australia. I'm sorry, I like the judge, and all you snobs can turn your nose up at it. I think it's a fun gun. Circuit judge. I actually do like the circuit judge. So the Taurus judge is a pistol. It's a 5-shot revolver that shoots 4 10-shot shells or 45 Colt.
okay.
And the circuit judge is the same thing, but with a stock and a rifle length barrel. So it's basically a revolver rifle. Wes is here. Wes was with me in that Wes was the guy with me in the BOF rifle. The man. We're not dudes or guys, we're men. Dustin Pribble is setting up a 308 and a 5.56 for DMR. Aaron Goodman, good evening. When I finally figured out that I had a DMR as well as this binary trigger, Dustin likes the mare's leg 410. I do too. That's if you've ever seen these old Steve McQueen, he had this old Western TV show. I think it was Have Gun Will Travel, or was it Gun for Hire? I can't remember. Steve McQueen did a Western TV show, black and white, and he had the, it looks like a lever action, like Winchester 92 with the stock cut off and the barrel cut down. It's called a mare's leg, and they're kind of fun.
I think we should change the name to Loquacious Zach and Silent Jeff.
I think that was just assumed though. It's like baked in. Like anytime you start talking, I shut up so you can get it in. It's like,
One day we will subvert your expectations. I'll do all the talking, he'll do all the drinking.
let's do it right now.
No, not today. That's not subverting anyone's expectations. They already know that you're going to talk. A little light. I'll get you another beer.
Ah, you cheater. Just walk away. So because of that, because we realized it was a DMR, I upped the scope. I was just going to put like a 1 to 4. Yeah. A 1 to 4 power scope on it, because you really don't need any more than a 4 power scope with a regular AR. But because we were talking about the DMR, and I talked to someone I know who knows more about scopes than I do, which is not hard to do. Evening, Prepper Trucking. Prepper Trucking, we need to ask you, what should my groups be on that BOF, you think, on those transitions? Like, are we talking about, should I be hitting here, or was that pallet size group? Obviously that's not ideal, but is it at least moving in the right direction? So we put the 2 to 7 power scope on there. And almost all of that shooting on that video I did with the 2 power. The only thing, I cranked it up to the 5 power for the Coke can. And I really didn't need to go to 5 power for the Coke can. I could have stopped at 3 I might have been able to do it with 2, to be honest with you. I don't know. Dustin Purple is getting a 3 to 18. Yikes! It's a telescope. So that's a scope that has a bottom power of 3 times magnification, or a top power of 18 times magnification. He's pretty much going to be shooting the sun. C103 says, "Good evening, Zach and Moses."
Wonder which one is Moses.
Wonder which one is Zach.
He didn't spell your name right, so he's not talking about you.
That's exactly that's how you spell my name. Oh, Goodman says that Arkin has a good DMR scope for $399. Yeah, Wes says, "The whole rifle needs more rigorous testing. He should have brought it home with him." I went to a gun show today. Someone else said they'd gone to a gun show. I went to a gun show today too, up in Greenville, South Carolina. And I was looking at ammo prices, and because I mean they've come down a little bit, but it's still 60 cents a round. Okay, prepper trucking, for those of you who don't know, was a machine gunner in the Marine Corps, what we call an 0331. So he's got a good scoop on this stuff, and he was saying that my left side target was spot on. Average size is 6 feet to cover 4 combatants. So when you're throwing lead like that, it's not for a point target. When I take one shot to try to neutralize one target, that's a point target. When you're throwing, usually it's full auto fire.
You want to keep everybody's head down.
Yeah, it's suppressive fire. It's called an area target. So he's saying that our left side is okay, at least at the 175 yards.
Yeah, I'll know to go left.
Yeah. No, you need to go right. Because I'm good to the left. Well, after you're coming at me, you want to go left. Yeah.
No, but if I'm on your team, I'd want to go right. If you're shooting left, wouldn't I want to go in the way they're ducking?
Yeah. No, you're right. No, never mind. I thought you were coming at me.
No.
I'm just so used to you coming after me. MI Prepper was the 60 gunner for our team in the Army. The range for the 60s were side-by-side double silhouette pop up out to 800 meters. Yeah, and the M60. Am I saying that right? I am.
That's what Rambo had, right?
Yeah, it was a 308. So 800 meters from a 308 is a 5.56. Just really, it's out of gas at 500 yards. I think they say that technically at 600 yards it still like punches through a Kevlar helmet or something, but even at 500 yards, that 5.56 is sucking air. Wanted Dead or Alive was Steve McQueen's show. Thank you, Robert. Zeus.
When were we talking about that? Did I miss something?
Yeah, we were talking about the mare's leg. You were sitting right there. We were talking about Steve McQueen.
I might have been sitting here, but I wasn't listening.
Lever action, stock cut off, barrel cut
I don't
down.
even remember y'all mentioning lever action. I don't. Wow.
That's what the mare's leg is.
I must have zoned out. Got a kidney stone, man. Don't judge me.
Your kidney stone probably heard me talking about it. All right, a bunch of men are putting high-power scopes on their rifles. Of course, Zeus has a Remington 700 with a 4-14, which could possibly use that. Arkin's got a 4-16 on his 416, and I think that's HK 416, or at least a clone thereof, is what he's saying. My sniper rifle is a Savage 10 Law Enforcement 308 heavy barrel with a 5-25. Wow, that's a hell of a. So five power was what I was on. That was really more than I needed to shoot a Coke can off a post at 175 yards, and that's the bottom power he's got on his. Of course, it is a sniper. It's a sniper rifle, so. So that is much more of a sniper scope. Here's my problem with the powerful magnification though, is that it really narrows down your field of view. and you're looking at a very, very small area. That's the downside. And you know, sometimes you want to be able to pull back out and blow that picture back up.
Lift your head up.
Well,
Get out of your sight.
yeah. Okay. Must be the kidney stone.
It's definitely a kidney stone.
So what do we do next with this BOF? So the problem is that range where I was at 175 yards, that was just like, I don't know where we'll get. There's one, I need to call this guy. He runs a 3%er group down in Conyers, and I think he says they've got a 300-yard range. And maybe that's what I need to do. I need to get with them and go down to their 300-yard range if they'll let me, and try all this at almost double the distance and see. Because the round and the rifle are capable of 300 yards. Well, should be capable of 300 yards.
Well, once you get the BOF situated, then what's the next step?
So the light rifle is at the gunsmith right now. He's probably got the barrel on it already. I just haven't had a Friday to go catch up with him and get it.
So how many people are in the team? 3?
Oh, fire team. You mean what's in the fire team after the BOF?
Yeah.
So right now, you know, we can't have. I was at that gun show today, and someone had y'all stop that. Leave him alone. Had a reproduction M79, the break action single shot grenade launcher they used in Vietnam. It was a reproduction, and it was a 37 millimeter. But tactical homes. Well, I'll get it. Tactical Homestead, you're the only moderator here. So if you see a comment held for review, would you review it for me, please? I would appreciate that. Or if someone else wants to be Wes is here. Wes S is here too. Wes, you too. If you notice one that's held for review, would you mind jumping all over that for me? I need Biddy.
All right, so how many people are in the fire team?
4.
Okay.
So for my purposes, my Marine Corps background's 4 men to a fire team.
So you got one running the BOF, then what?
So then you've got the Rifleman. He didn't watch the smut video. So you got,
but I have a very short attention span.
So you've got your Rifleman, and it's just a regular AR-15. Mm-hmm. Then you've got the A-gunner, and he's the guy who's supposed to assist the BOF guy. But in this instance, you know, for our fire team, he's not as important that he be an A-gunner because, you know, there's no spare barrel.
All right, I do remember the video now. You're going over this. All right.
So, you know, with the saw, the gunner's, you know, slinging lead, and then the A-gunner's got the spare barrel in his pack, and he's got a few extra boxes of ammunition. And, like, you know, so if they need to do a barrel change, he can go. You can also run the saw one man to it. You don't have to have an A-gunner. With the BOF, with no spare barrel and no barrel change and it's not a belt fed, it's not as critical that you have an A-gunner.
But if he gets taken out, you need somebody to step in.
You do need someone who can step up, so you still need the A-gunner. So now the A-gunner, even in the Marine Corps, is just armed with a regular M16 too. So he's essentially
So everybody else has,
except for the team leader, and he's got a grenade launcher. He's got the M203 underneath his rifle that shoots the 40 millimeter grenades, and that's a really hard thing to replace.
Can we get those?
No. Well, we can't get the explosive. We can get 40 millimeter grenade launchers, and we should, because who knows, you know, when the time comes that the rounds don't magically appear somehow.
Because Grand Thumb did a video about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could get the launcher, but you had to use, I guess, non-explosive.
Yeah, so you can use flares.
Yeah.
There's smoke. There's rounds you can use to be familiar with it. You could probably use spotter rounds.
So yeah, one day that just might be laying around somewhere.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But in case the rounds are not laying around, we need something that puts a big oomph on target. The only thing I can think of that we have access to is 50 cals. You know, the bolt action 50 BMGs. The problem is, you know, the guy carrying that, now you've lost an AR-15 because you can't carry an AR-15 and that. And it has limited.
Unless he's got a little red wagon they can pull behind.
Yeah, that literally, he'd have to have one of those robot dogs following behind him with his. So, at the team level, I don't think that's the answer. I think at a squad level, where you could have maybe 2 guys tasked with that, maybe that's the answer there. But at the team level, we really need to come up with a way to overcome the lack of booms. You know, you just can't replace a boom. That the 203, I got to fire it a couple times. HEDP, the high explosive. And
What's that stuff that blows up when you shoot it?
the tannerite.
Yeah, what if we get like t-shirt launchers and launch bags of that, and your BOF guys just shoot those things? We probably shouldn't say that. We are not thinking that. That's allegedly.
Interestingly enough, I saw something today I'd never seen before, and it was an AR-15 upper that was a Coke can launcher. And you just had this upper.
You could do some damage with
You
a Coke
could do
can.
some damage. And you know, maybe you can improvise something that's not a Coke can, but acts like a Coke can.
It was a Coke can.
Coke can.
Full of Coke. White powdery substance.
So it was. I looked at that and I went, because it's just an upper with this tube on it, and it uses blanks, AR-15 blanks to power it. I have no idea how far it launches. Maybe it doesn't get it far enough away to not kill you, but. Hey Randall, how you doing?
Are we losing our audience?
Yeah, we're doing okay. We're at 20. I mean, it's not the 50 that we'd like, but
It's still early.
yeah. Someone pointed out too. Oh yeah, okay. MI Prepper. What the 203 gives you is indirect fire because it's got this high arc. It's not really like. I don't think it's true indirect fire because you got to be able to see your target. You can't do a call for fire type thing. But you can, oh, there's a rock, there's a guy behind the rock. Let me see it. You can do that sort of stuff. See if you can. So it is indirect fire light, and there's no way to replace that. There's really no replacement for grenades. Someone said something about binary. You just said binary. We are binary. Our triggers are binary, and we're binary. Male and female, he created them. Prepper trucking, when you explain that comment, when the enemy are approaching, they are staggered, and human nature is basically the same. Oh, Aaron Goodman knows what I'm talking about, the can cannon. He says they're really cool. And he says they have about 100-yard range, which is useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're light, and something worth.
I mean, the Coke cans are not light if they're full of Coke.
That's true. But you know what? Neither are the grenades. The grenades are heavy as hell, too.
Well, Coke, it's dual purpose. So if I get thirsty, I can drink one.
Prepper trucking does like your tannerite idea. Okay. So that's kind of what's next on the smut side of things. To round out our team. We either need tactics or equipment that lets us overcome that grenade launcher.
We also need 2 other men.
We also need 2 other.
That would-
Our team personally,
That would help also.
There's like 6 other men who have been told they're part of the team and keep going.
You guys are crazy. I watch y'all on Saturday nights.
We keep telling them you're part of the team.
They keep saying, Susan, show us your tits.
We should look her up. I wonder if we even want to see her tits.
Yeah, I'm so pissed off at her. I don't even want to see her tits anymore.
Okay, Aaron Goodman says he likes the 330. He's saying 336, but I'm betting you mean 338 Lapua over 50 BMG because of cost. You can get a rifle for $1,500 and ammo for $3 a round. 50 rifle starts at $5,000. The thing is that 338 Lapua is a hell of a round, but it's really, and I'm just talking out loud here. I'm not saying that you're not right, but here's the other side of the 338 Lapua. It's really optimized for ballistics and being a sniper round and long range accuracy. And that 50 BMG is just big, heavy, and break stuff, you know? Lots of stuff. So things that 338 might bounce off of, that 50 BMG is just gonna go, especially at short ranges. So that's again, that's why I'm thinking about 50 BMG. But you're right, the 338 Lapua rifle would also be much lighter and you could carry a lot more ammunition. There's a lot of reasons that the 338 Lapua is a better idea. And, you know, maybe the workaround for this isn't something destructive, it's something accurate and flexible like the 338 Lapua. So you could stand off and, you know, do.
Would the 50 caliber replace the BOF and the? Wouldn't be able to do that.
Too slow, too limited ammunition. You're really, I mean, we'd have to look. I bet each 50 cal round is almost as heavy as a loaded magazine of 5.56. Probably not quite. I think a loaded magazine is like 2 pounds. And so, but you might be only be able to carry, you know, maybe as little as 25 rounds per man on that 50 BMG, and very, very slow. You know, if people are rushing you, you're going to get, you know, 1 or 2 shots off, as compared to the hundreds you could get off. I'm just making these numbers up off the top of my head.
But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Jonathan Richardson says that the cannon is $300 where he's at, comes with 100 blanks. See, that's an option, you know? As long as you got something you can shoot out of it and it's relatively accurate. So Zeus, I think the 5.56 mag is a pound empty if I'm not mistaken. I think loaded it's 2 pounds, but I'm pulling that out of the top of my head and I could be very, very wrong. Someone can look it up for us, though. 50 cracks engine blocks nicely when a car is coming at you. As a group is approaching, even staggered, the spread left to right is average 6 to 10 feet wide, regardless how far apart front to back. Headshot in the front and lower abdominal in the back of the line. Gotcha. So these guys are walking, even if they're staggered, the two sides are lined up behind each other. So, you know, if you're aimed in on a headshot on the first guy and you miss, well, the other guy's right behind them, and the trajectory of your round is going to take it into him somewhere in here. Yeah. Excellent point. Excellent point. So that's what I think. Maybe 50 BMG. I don't know though. I do know this. You know, cops and the FBI keep using these armored personnel carriers, like they breached the Branch Davidian compound with. Mm-hmm. The 50 BMG would go right through those. I mean, you got to hit something vulnerable inside of them. It's not like they'll blow up. Yeah. But it'll penetrate the armor.
But it's expensive too.
Yes. All right, Zeus says the 5.56 mags loaded are 1 pound. I was mistaken. Randall says get a 50 with a binary. That would be a lot of fun.
Maybe.
But then now you've got to have a semi-automatic 50, which they make, but those are ridiculously expensive.
You might get it for, you know, work bonus. Never can tell.
Well, if our boss is watching, you know what we want for Christmas.
After night vision.
Night
Let's
vision.
work on that first.
Night vision. Actually, that is, thank you.
You're welcome.
That is the next part to work on for even for the smut stuff too. Before I get all crazy with more guns. Even though I do have 3 more guns in the pipeline, night vision is really,
Would be handy. It'd be handy.
it changes everything. You know, he who rules the night rules the fight. Even running patrols. You know,
What about like when the moon's out and it's really bright? I mean, does it?
fine.
No.
Deals with that fine. Some of them have a little. The ones I use the most, the 7 Bravos, had a rubber cap. If there was a lot of light, you could put the rubber cap on, and it would cut that out. But they also automatically adjusted for light levels.
Right, but aren't you thinking, all right, I can't be seen, but if the moon's out, I mean, the other team's going to see.
But very reduced. I see what you're saying. Not how it affects the night vision. How does it affect you?
Yeah.
And we're talking about 2 or 3 hours a night, maybe on the nights when the moon's out. The rest of the time.
Okay.
And still, like I said, greatly reduced visibility even then.
Yeah.
Yeah, the PVS 14s average about $3,000. I just found out you can buy parts kits for these things and get out for about maybe even half, maybe even less if you assemble them yourself. So I'm gonna look at I'm gonna look for 5 Charlies. I looked at the 14 parts kit, and the parts kit for the AN PVS 14. I think it's the current night vision. The parts kit was like $800, and then you got to buy the little piece that actually does the work. I looked at the 7 Bravos, which was the previous one, and they were still expensive. I haven't looked up the 5 Charlies yet to see what they are. The 5 Charlies were acceptable. They worked. They were fine. They weren't as good as the 7 Bravos or the 14s. Rendezvous with Destiny, yes. Mark 19. That is an amazing piece of equipment. I have seen it. I've never shot it, but I've seen it fired quite a few times. It's this fully automatic. It's a grenade launcher, but it's fully automatic. And it shoots these 40mm grenades like 2,000 meters or something stupid. And it's just devastation. It's got a real slow rate of fire. It's like thump, 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 thump. And they move really slow. But when they start hitting, man, it's just, it's great. Hey, Isaac, you're late. Get your shit wired together. Isaac, you need to send me your phone number so I can start communicating with you about these things when we're going to do them. If you've got my email, shoot me your phone number and I will shoot you a text at some point.
It's a bad idea, Isaac. I wouldn't do it. It's a trap.
Every time I call him, he's like, "What? I've got a kidney stone." I named it Zach.
Not every time.
I spell it Z-E-C-H.
The correct way. I spell it correctly.
I spell it Zetch, but I pronounce it Zach. Why? I don't know. I'm crazy. Prepper Truckin' is telling us he can do weld fabrication, and you need to go back up and look at his previous comment to see why that's relevant. It is relevant. Yeah, Randall Davidson, civilians can get the 37 millimeters. They can't really get any fun stuff to shoot out of it, though. Okay, Aaron Goodman's talking about the parts kits. He's right. The problem is getting the lens. They are about $2,000. You basically don't save much. It really sucks. I had
$2,000 for the lens?
Yeah, I hadn't priced the lenses yet, Aaron. The biggest advantage is you don't have to give any of your info to anyone. Oh yeah, that's right, because these are controlled.
Night vision's controlled?
Yeah. It's for you can own it. They won't tell you can't own it, but you have to report who who's going to have it so that you can make sure you're not exporting it. It's an export thing. which is ridiculous, of buying one at a time.
I've heard it all now. I mean, 'cause I've seen goggles in like Walmart that says they're night vision.
Yeah, but those kind of sort.
I know they're toys,
They're
but
garbage.
yeah, they gotta work better than these, I guess.
Well, I mean, they're better than nothing, maybe.
I'm about to buy a pair just to see.
We had a set, but I never got one of the older 5 kids had a set they left here, but I never ended up getting to try them
I'm
out.
gonna buy some of those toys and see if they work.
Let's see. It got to be better than that. Would be a good video. We should do that on your channel since it was your idea.
Sure.
That would be interesting.
Not many people watch it, but sure, we can do it.
Deer rifles are what I figure people would really grab to keep distance. Yeah. Wes S. can fabricate a story about welding. What are your thoughts on using a silencer on the BOF? Isaac, if you were here at the beginning of class with everybody else,
It's been answered.
we already talked about this. There's a few things about
Great question. That was an awesome
great
question.
thank you
Great
so much,
question.
Isaac.
Yeah.
The problem with the suppressors is that when you're talking about 5.56, they don't really suppress that much, because it's, especially on the BOF rifle, you got to use supersonic rounds. If you watch that BOF video, actually, you'll hear each shot. You'll hear the shot go off, but then you'll hear the bullet go. So you're not getting any real sound savings. You still have to wear earplugs with it. It wouldn't even be quiet enough that you shouldn't have to wear earplug. But then it transfers all that heat into the barrel. So it's a good idea, but it's not going to work for the BOF. Even people who, when you use a suppressor, you use special ammunition, subsonic ammunition, and it's much less powerful. I shouldn't say that. The word powerful really means nothing when it comes to bullets, but it has to go much slower. And 5.56 is a velocity dependent round. On top of that, 5.56 is really small. So the way they do that sometimes make it subsonic is then they make the bullet really heavy. But you can't make a 5.56 much heavier than like 77 grains, 80 grains.